Yeah. I'm not that scary. Yeah. You need five, right? You need five. Where? Remote? I don't know whether if you got extended time, let us know. What's your dad? It's already on. Yeah, it's already on. What that like happened? Yeah, that's already connected, yeah? It's working from the systems. Oh, cool. Alhamdulillah. Guys. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. No, that wasn't loud enough. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. You know, fun fact, I don't think we've gotten a salams the first time on the first try. If from memory. The first one has to be very loud, inshallah. Okay, that's for the next talk. So inshallah, today we have one of our beautiful brothers, Brother Abdurrahman Yustika, who will be giving a talk on Ramadan. All right, so Ramadan is coming up in what? In 13, 2 weeks, 13, 14 days, inshallah, either 10th or 11th of March. And then inshallah, it's the perfect time for us to really understand and know what the blessed month is about. How do we prepare for it? How do we set ourselves mentally and physically to maximize that beautiful month, inshallah. And then so we'll have the talk and then there'll be a short Q&A. A short Q&A so that if we want advice, we want tips on how do we maximize our Ramadan that Brother Abdurrahman might not cover, we can expand the discussion there as well, inshallah. But like always, like any reminder of the deen, we start with listening to the beautiful verses of the Quran. So inshallah, my dear respected brothers and sisters, I'll be reciting from Surah Baqarah, ayat 183 to ayat 185. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون صدق الله العظيم. And inshallah we have Brother Khalid giving the translation.
O believers, fasting is prescribed for you as it was for those before you, so perhaps you will become mindful of Allah. Fast a prescribed number of days, but whoever of you is ill or on a journey, then let them fast an equal number of days after Ramadan. For those who can only fast with extreme difficulty, compensation can be made by feeding a needy person for every day not fasted. But whoever volunteers to give more, it is better for them. And to fast is better for you, if only you knew. Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed as a guide for humanity with clear proofs of guidance and the decisive authority. So whoever is present this month, let them fast. But whoever is ill or on a journey, then let them fast an equal number of days after Ramadan. Allah intends ease for you, not hardships, so that you may complete the prescribed period and proclaim the greatness of Allah for guiding you, and perhaps you will be grateful.
Barakallah feek. Inshallah we'll pass it on to Brother Abdurrahman to remind us on the blessed month coming very soon, inshallah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I think I'll probably have to focus most of you guys. Inshallah, we'll start the talk by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the health, the ability, the life, the iman that we still have today to be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be able to come to one of these majlis where the angels are around us, where they are spreading mercy and rahmah, right? Mercy, rahmah and sakina, right? Calmness, peace into your hearts. Also, we give salat and salam to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family and also his companions, and for their hard work and for their struggle to be able to give us what we call Islam today. And so, inshallah, for the beginning of this talk, there's something in the back of our minds constantly. And if someone can tell me what this one thing is in the back of our minds, if someone could give me like a good answer of what it might be. Always. It's happening right now. Nah. Starts with a P. Palestine. Palestine. We can't begin the talk. I can't talk about anything regarding Islam without talking about the brothers and sisters in Palestine. I really can't. Because especially as we are looking at Ramadan right now, and we have our brothers and sisters in Gaza who are struggling, who are being massacred, who have a genocide being committed on them. And it's very, very tough for us to talk about the blessings of Ramadan without speaking about our brothers and sisters who don't even have the food to be able to break their fast. And it's tough. And so I want to remind of you guys to keep on remembering our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Because sometimes as we go through our social media feeds, as we go through our chats, we sometimes get desensitized about our brothers and sisters' plights and how their struggle has been constant. But for some reason, they are not getting the adequate help that they actually need. Also, to connect it with the preparation of Ramadan, we have a death toll that is rising. How much do you think is the death toll right now? Anyone want to give me a number? 30,000? Anyone else? 100,000? Quite a lot. Anyone else? Anyone want to give me like a good random number in the 100,000s? In the 10,000 actually. No one is quite close, but I didn't get it yet. 40? 32? 50? 29,000. 29,000 accurately right now is 29,313 people have died in Gaza because of what the Israeli people are doing to them. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help them, to give them victory and to not let us lose hope in the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we must ask forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our shortcomings. As brothers, as we have right now, like all of you guys are safe. All of you guys are, know that you're going to have food. All of you guys know that you're going to have water. But for them, they don't have that. And so we always keep them in our du'as. And so to link this with Ramadan and its newfound importance is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called a large amount of numbers, a large amount of brothers and sisters to him that have been martyred, right? They passed away. Are they going to see Ramadan? Are they going to experience Ramadan like us? No, yes, no, right? But how come we have the ability to experience Ramadan? What is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you and me that he wants us to do during Ramadan? And so when he has called 29,000 people and 313 to go up to him and not experience Ramadan, what does it mean for us? Is it that we don't have the ability to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reach that Jannah? Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving that to us. maybe we are lacking in that tawakkul, yaqeen, and also the iman that Ramadan can maybe increase in us. Maybe that's the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving it to us. Because the brothers over there and the sisters over there, their iman is off the charts. There was once a story, and just a recent one. There was a little kid who's 12 years old over here. 12. There you go, brother over here, 12 years old. He was going to, he had, there was a bombing and one of the shrapnel got into him. And so the doctor is relaying this story. And as he was telling the story, he's saying that the boy, as he was trying to take the shrapnel out of him, he tried taking it out. But for some reason, he couldn't take it out in the first time. In the second time, the boy then asked the doctor, "Doctor, can you give me a little bit of anesthesia, a little bit more painkillers, because it's beginning to hurt a bit more." And the doctor, what do you think the doctor would say? He'll say, "Yes." He'll say, "Of course, definitely. You're a little boy, give that shrapnel. Give him that painkillers." And so the boy, he then gets the painkiller and he gets that shrapnel taken out of him. After that, what does he say? The boy says something to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that shocks the doctor. He says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, "Oh Allah, please forgive me for asking of something from someone else rather than you. I asked forgiveness from you that I asked the doctor to relieve the pain of that shrapnel." And so their iman, their level of, how do you say, tawakkul, yaqeen, the relationship with them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very, very strong. And maybe that's the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has poured them up, because maybe you don't need this Ramadan. But how about us? We may need this Ramadan. But what is Ramadan? And that is a question for all of you guys. What is Ramadan? If you want, you could actually go on this Menti. It's actually on the top. If you go on your phones, it's on the top. But what is Ramadan? If you want to just say it with the hands up, or if you want, you go on Menti and actually put it on. Anyone? Or you guys are a bit too shy? You want to put it on the presentation? It's not working. It's on the top. So if you see the top up there, if you just write, yep, menti.com, and you just type in that code and it just jumps in. Don't do it. You don't want to do it. Oh, yeah. Bulan puasa. Yes. Just as our brother Nawfal recited, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam. It is a month. Yep. A month of reflection. I can't read the yellow. A month of fasting and the month of mercy. Brilliant answers. Month of the Quran. Yes, there's a lot of a month of better habits. Like that month of better habits. Anyone else? Fasting. Is that gratitude of blessings? Yes. Let's keep on going. Alhamdulillah. But those are really, really good answers in terms of it's a month of fasting, it's a month of reflection, it's a month of gratitude. These are all actions of Ramadan that we do in Ramadan. But why is it that Ramadan is for that though? It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us holy months. And one of them is Ramadan. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Shahru Ramadan. Ramadan is a month where the Quran was revealed. And Allah places great conditions. He puts conditions on it that allow us to fast. He allows us to pray. He asks us to reflect, to be grateful. Why? Because every reward made in Ramadan, what happens is that it gets multiplied. Every form of worship gets multiplied. Every act of kindness gets multiplied. Every good deed comes more of a blessing, right, in the month of Ramadan than in any other month. And so we have about, how many days do we have? 20? 30? 30 days? How much days in Ramadan? 30 or 29? Yes. And so you have 30 days or 29 to make the most of this Ramadan, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed this amazing condition on it. And that's why it's a kind of a no-brainer that the hadith that you probably might have heard a lot is that, expressing the importance of Ramadan, where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he kind of threatens people who don't make the use of Ramadan. It was narrated that Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended to the minbar. So maybe, like, let's say this minbar, right? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam he went on top, and he said, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. And then it was said that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended and said, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. And he said, Jibril, peace be upon him, came to me and said, if Ramadan comes and a person is not forgiven, he will enter hell and Allah will cast him far away. And so Jibril said to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Ameen. And for the other two Ameens, he said, oh Muhammad, if both or one of a person's parents are alive and he does not honor them and he dies, he will enter hell and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cast him away. Say Ameen. That's a massive problem, right? When you see someone who is, if in the language durhaka, or someone who casts his parents away, he will go to hell. But then also another Ameen is that if you are mentioned in the person's presence and he does not send blessings upon you and he dies, he will enter hell and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cast him far away. So say Ameen. And so that's the reason why sometimes we always say Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And so we see that Ramadan comes with a threat that if we are to go in the month of Ramadan where amazing blessings are there, fasting is there, right? You have times where you have to, what do you call it? You could pray, tarawih. There's also a month of the Quran, and you have all of these things. But then you are not able to take it, right, with its full ability. Then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says Ameen to the dua of Jibril. And it must be a kind of a warning sign to us, right? It's kind of like a stop sign. Before we get to Ramadan, it kind of gives us a warning, like, hey, are you going to take this serious? Are you going to really get Allah's subhanahu's forgiveness? Are you going to do it? Because if you don't, what happens? What Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. And so we have now understood in a way that the importance of Ramadan and our ability to use it. We need to use it. Because why? Because some people don't have it. The brothers and sisters in Palestine, they don't have the ability, the ones that have just passed away. But we have it. And so similarly, when something is going to come, right? Let's say there's a guest that's coming to your house. What usually happens? What does your parents do? Make food. What else do they do to the house? Clean, prepare, clean. What do they tell you to clean? The room. Even though the guest is not going to the room, he tells you to clean the light, even though the guest don't even look at the light. You know, there are things that they ask you to clean. They tell you to prepare all of the stuff. Even though it might just be like a normal guest, a family guest. Imagine a big guest, right? Something like Ramadan. When Ramadan comes, how are we preparing for Ramadan? How are we preparing for the amazing guest of Ramadan? And so I try to bring back a very classic analogy that I've heard since I was little till now. It's about the gold. If I was to ask you guys to go into a room full of gold and you had, let's say, 1 hour or 30 minutes in it, what would you guys do? Is the question. There you go. You guys can write it into your mentees. A very classic analogy. Everyone always says this. Everyone should have the same answer. What would you do in a room full of gold? Can't see it. Wait to get out. Grab some of it. Stuff it in my pants. Bring your strongest friends. Oh, that's smart. Kasih ke orang tua. Masya Allah. Collect as much as I can. Take it and give it to the poor. Try to collect. Masya Allah. There's a lot of very generous brothers over here. None of them want to take it for themselves. Bring it back to the kampung. Make dua for strength. I would not collect the gold because why don't you why wouldn't you collect the gold? It's right there, it's free. Collect as much as possible, take it for charity. These are good answers. That's exactly the answer that everyone gives, right? If there was a place and there was a room full of gold bars and you went in it, you would take it, right? And that is kind of the analogy of Ramadan. And Ramadan is like that. There's so much rewards. It is gold bars. You go in there, you only have a certain limited amount of time and you could take it. However, I want to say there's a bit of a misunderstanding with analogy. Not a misunderstanding, but a bit of a factor that I put in this analogy. One of the one that is the most important is that you knew you were going into the room from 1 year ago. Didn't you? You knew that that Ramadan was going to come in 1 year. And yet you didn't prepare anything from it. You knew you were going to go into the room of gold. And for some reason, you never thought, what can I do when I go into the room? What could make me better prepared when I go into that room? And so we find the Sahaba of the past, they were very intelligent, they were very wise. Maybe for us, we're a bit procrastinators. We procrastinate about certain things. That's maybe the reason why we make our preparation maybe 1 month or 2 months before. But the Sahaba, they made the preparation either 1 year, 6 months, or even 3 months before Ramadan. Like that's minimum, 3 months. And what would they do? They would create a multi-billion scale billion-dollar company or even like a business to prepare for the time when the gold room comes to get every single dollar there is. They want to leave a scrape out of it. They want to leave even a single cent. They would make like a mining company in like quotation marks, right? In quotation marks. They'll make a full mining company, right? To get all the gold. Right? For us, we just get a sack. We get like a bag, like a Woolies, you know, the Woolies, what's up, a paper bag. We get that and we bring it into the gold ingot room and we'll get some gold. But for them, they make a full company. And that is the reason for my title, where it comes from a unique reference from Imam Abu Bakr al-Waraq al-Balkhi, rahimahullah, where he says, Rajab is the month of sowing the seeds. Rajab is the month to sow the seeds. Sha'ban is the month to irrigate the crop. And Ramadan is the month to reap the harvest. Well, why is it that they do this? Why is it that they prepare like 1 year before or 6 months or let's say even like 3 months before? Because, I mean, if I ask you guys, what is your dreams? Like, what is it that you want to do in Ramadan? Like what's the best Ramadan that you're thinking of? Anyone have an answer? Like just a hands up. I don't have a question on Menti for it. So anyone have an answer on this one? Like, what is it that you want to do during Ramadan? You want me to start it? I'll start it. Like in Ramadan, I wanna read the whole Quran. I want to pray the Tahajjud every night. I want to fast every single day. I want to do dhikr at least 100 times of every single Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Yeah, there's a lot of things, right? Yourself? Itikaf, yes. MashaAllah. Is this every single day? Yes, every single day. So he has to give. Good to you guys. Anyone else? Any other answers? Oh, Nafal, you don't have any answer on this? Any other answer? No one has big dreams about Ramadan? MashaAllah. Saying the whole night, praying the Hajjud. But the thing is, like, every single one, I'm pretty sure, you know, you're holding your answers back because they're massive. So that's the reason why you're not putting your hands up. But you guys all have big dreams about Ramadan. And so what happens is that most of us have big dreams about Ramadan. We're all saying amazing things, like myself. Like, we're saying, fasting in Ramadan, we read the Quran and this and that. But we haven't warmed up our engine. All of us know when we drive a car, you got to warm it up a bit. You got to warm the car up before it goes. Because if you go straight away, what happens? Destroyed, right? Even the guys in sports, Who plays sports over here? Come on, no one, anyone play sports? Brothers over there in the middle. You guys don't play sports? No? Okay. If I told you you're going to play a 90-minute game and you don't stretch, what happens? Pull a muscle, cramp, break your leg, ACO is gone, everything, right? So if you do that in Ramadan, what happens is that you go there and you're pumped up 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, boom, and then you're gone. And then they get sick. And so what we need to do is that we need to follow the Sahaba. We need to prepare. We need to make sure our bodies are used to it. And so that's the why they said Rajab, right, which was a month ago, is the month to sow the seeds. Sha'ban is the month to irrigate the crops, and Ramadan is the month to reap the harvest. And so I had to actually learn how a farmer does these things. And so now I know how to make plants and I know how to grow corn. So if you guys need growing corn, I'm the guy to go to, inshallah. Similar to how the farmer prepares for these yearly harvests, right? We also have to become farmers. We have to become people who are farming for good deeds in the month of Ramadan. Although we may have missed Rajab, right? Let's say, we missed it. We can still use the remaining weeks. We have 2 weeks, right? You have 2 weeks till Ramadan. And so maybe from that, we can prepare ourselves for Ramadan. And this reference can build a pathway or a strategy, right? This quote can build a strategy to how we can prepare for Ramadan. And so firstly, sowing the seeds. When I talk about sowing the seed, how could we sow the seed in Ramadan? How do we sow the seed? What kind of thing are we talking? You can go on a Menti, you can write it down, so you don't have to put your hands up. Start small, yes. Start very small. Anyone else? Labib, is there any answer? Start small. Okay, sowing the seeds. I'm gonna have to get up. Pray 5 times a day. Start fasting from now. Fasting Mondays and Thursdays. Perform more ibadah. Practice tahajjud and fasting. Pray all sunnahs. Inshallah. Baca Al-Quran. Do more dhikr. Start small. Get married. How did that start small, bro? That's a massive jump. Normalize morning and evening adhkar. Start planning and setting goals for Ramadan. Keep away from evil actions. That's one I was looking for too. So exactly what you guys said. So start small first. So always start small. So you sow the seeds by what? You actually, before you sow seeds, actually, if you actually look in the farming thing, what they do is they get seeds first and they have to soak it in water first for it to kind of open up. So when farmers sow seeds, they don't actually just put seeds, right? For us, we buy seeds from Bunnings and we just put it into the ground and hope for that it grows. But the farmers, what they do is they put it in like buckets of water, all these like millions of seeds. And then once it begins, like there's a little like a white thing coming out of it, and then they start to spread it out. And so similarly, we have to, let's say, germinate the seeds or germinate the ibadah, right? We have to start small. Just as Naufal said, we have to start small. Like get the stable ones, right? Praying 5 times a day. But 5 times a day, is it delayed or is it like consistent? Is our bacha al-Quran, is it 1 day, like 1 whole juz, and then another month is kind of like, or another 5 days we're not reading? Or is it consistent where we have like, like 1 page a day, 1 page a day, 1 page a day, or even like half a page, or even 1 ayah a day? So we start small. We sow the seeds by starting small. And so also what we need to do is that we need to take away the evil habits, right? We need to take away the habits that are of no use. Because before you sow the seeds, the farmer, what he does is he takes out the weed first. If there's any weed, right, he has to take it out. Because if you have weed and it's growing with your seeds, it will take over your seeds and it will eat all of the let's say, the nutrients that's going to get. And so firstly, we also need to make intentions too. We need to make the land nice. That's right. We have to level it out. We have to level it. We have to turn the soil so all of the nutrients are there. And then that's when you start to plant the seed. And then when you plant the seed, is that you firstly, what you have to do is you ask forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We always start with a clean slate, right? We ask forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of the beauty about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that you have a direct line to Him. Other religions don't have a direct line. You have to go to what? Another place to get that forgiveness. We have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once we make sujood, that's it. You're talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so ask forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask him for a clean slate. Ask him that, oh, ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to get into Ramadan. I'm going to make sure that I have a clean slate now. And now I want to begin to go on a journey with you. Also, to seek knowledge about Ramadan. Go to classes. Go to your sheikhs. Ask for advice regarding Ramadan. And then also, if you have any outstanding fasts, please finish it off. If you have any outstanding. Maybe some of you don't. And then start slow and steady. There's no rush to this. Although maybe you only have a 1 week or 2 weeks, start slow. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he says, take up the good deeds only as much as you are able to. Let's say some of you are only able to do some good deeds. That's all right. It's not a shame for you to not do tahajjud. It's not a shame for you to not read one whole Quran in Ramadan. It's not a shame for you to not be able to read 1 juz a day. But start slow and steady. So what I would recommend is that you kind of stabilize and be consistent on your prayer and also your Quran. Just try to get that. Try to get that. As long as you get that, you're on a nice, like when the plane is like starting up, you're nice. You're able to just breeze through once you get there. The next one is, oh wait, that's actually further. Irrigating. It sounds very, very technical. It just means like to water, pretty much. And like something like fertilizer. But irrigating, how do we irrigate? So let's say we already sowed the seeds, we already made our prayer and our Quran very nice. It's already like steady. We're doing it continuously for a good week. How do we irrigate these seeds? If someone says marriage, it'd be weird. Intention. Istiqamah. Building consistency. By staying consistent, slowly increase the habits every day, but still keep consistency the priority. Plan, yes, taqwa, marriage. There's someone here that's like, he really needs to get married. Do more things. Marriage, again. So, istiqamah and consistency. That's the key word. Istiqamah and consistency. Just continue that. And slowly, what you can do is build upon that. What they call it in psychology, they call it habit chaining. So you build a habit, and what you do is you chain another habit to that habit. So let's say you're praying Fajr right on time. And so then what you do is that you chain it with another thing, because you're already there, right? You're already praying on the prayer mat. You're already there. You just grab the Quran and read. Just get the Quran and read while you're there. You're already there. You're already outside of bed. Why not just read? And then what you can do is to make it easier. What you can do is make it, yeah. What you can do is make it easier for yourself, which is, if you read, there's a book called Atomic Habits. It's a very good book if you wanna learn about how to prepare for Ramadan. Although it's like secular knowledge, but it could really, really help. What you can do is make things easier for you. So let's say you're about to go to sleep, Fajr, right? What you can do is bring out the prayer mat, take it out, put it there. Oh, it's bad. It's getting worse. You can get the prayer mat, but you can also, get a cloth, gantungin right next to your bed. So it's much easier, because sometimes the path of least resistance is easy, right? We try to make your habits easy. We try to chain it very much. And so that's what irrigating can do. And so what you do is you have to make it consistent. And when you learn in farming, especially in rice, anyone eat rice over here? Everyone eat rice? I'll be a bread. Is there any like bread kind of person? Perhaps his wheat and rice, actually corn, maybe. But rice usually what they do is that they have to make it about 3 to 4 centimeters. Like the seed has to be about 3 to 4 centimeters up, right? And it has to be consistent like that throughout its whole irrigating period. It has to keep on like that. If it goes down by 1 centimeter, it would make the crop go bad. And so similarly, when we're irrigating, we have to make sure it's consistent, right? For the first 2 weeks or first 1 week, right? We have to make sure it's there, because if you don't, what happens is that the harvest gets a massive problem if the harvest doesn't have that water, right? And so we have to create good yield. It might also be that you might need to put more habits in there, put a little bit of manure, put a little bit of fertilizer on it. And so we have to irrigate those seeds nicely. And so that could be consistent reading, consistent prayer, and then adding on top is that maybe you could add maybe fasting in there. You could also add one night of the tahajjud. You might even add maybe a little bit more in terms of the Quran. And so what you have to do is you perfect the deed, right? Ihsan, right? You always have to perfect your actions. Now comes Ramadan. Who thinks Ramadan is supposed to be easy? Just wondering. Anyone think Ramadan is supposed to be easy? Anyone? No hands up? Does anyone think Ramadan is hard? Anyone think it's hard? It's hard? It's hard, yes. No, but you know what? That's honesty right there. But actually, the misconception is this. It's supposed to be very easy. It's supposed to be that you are breezing through it. You're like, like the F1 car. Just think of that as you go through Ramadan. Because why? Is because if you prepare for it, it makes it easier. Similar as to like the gold ingot, the gold room. If you prepare a multi-billion-dollar company, right, scale it up before Ramadan, when you get to Ramadan, it is way easier to get the gold than if you just came on the first day. And so the Sahaba found it so easy during Ramadan because they were already doing the Quran, they're already fasting, they're already doing the Tahajjud, they're already doing all this stuff. And so the added layer on top of Ramadan was that they were just getting more rewards. They were just getting multiple rewards. They were just getting more gold and more gold and more gold. Because why? It's because Ramadan is when you harvest. Ramadan isn't when you sow the seed or when you kind of irrigate. Ramadan is when you actually are supposed to get the good deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, like, I'm gonna give you, like in Mario, have you ever seen the star, the star, and you get invincible, and you like in a rainbow color, and you're going through the whole thing? That's what Ramadan should feel like. You should feel invincible during Ramadan. Your car is pumping. And so Ramadan is made for you to kind of increase those good deeds on a larger scale. Because why? Firstly, what is it in Ramadan that happens to shaitan? They're chained, right? They're chained. And then what happens is that if they're chained, they can't go in you anymore. They can't disturb you. Also, what happens is that the community, right? The community is around you. Everyone is praying the Taraweeh. Everyone is going and what's it called again? Everyone is fasting with you. Everyone's buka puasa. Everyone is also reading Quran. And some brothers are doing like, the 30-day, the one Quran in 30 days. And so you're hearing about him. Oh, he's on second juz. I'm on one juz. He's on third juz. He's on 15 juz. And you're there and you're competing, right? And so the environment is made for you to do so much good deeds. And now that you already sowed the seeds, you already irrigated the seeds, and you're on a higher level of Iman, what happens is that Ramadan just takes you to another level. And that's when you're able to get the gold from the room, right? And so what happens is that you could begin to increase your sunnah prayers. Fasting you're already fasting every day, right? You were fasting Monday, Thursdays before. Now you're fasting every single day. Zakat every day. You're reading Quran every day. You're doing tahajjud every day. Ramadan is a month of harvest. And so when you do that, when you really use Ramadan and you really use the preparation, what happens is that you get a lot of good deeds, and also you are most possibly forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that month. And you're not among those people who are going to hell and being cast away. And that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said Ameen from. And so that's how you get the best of Ramadan. But then we get into a bit of a pickle. Probably all of you are asking, I don't have much time to prepare for Ramadan. I don't have much time. I only have 2 weeks. It's too late. I can't prepare anymore. I only got a short amount of time. But there is an old proverb that they say the best time to plant a tree, firstly, is 20 years ago. And the second time is now. And so my call to action to all of you guys is that you start preparing now. Don't procrastinate. I know it's like a habit of us to procrastinate, whether it be assignments, work, everything. We procrastinate everything. But let's start now for Ramadan because we want to get a good harvest. Because when we get a good harvest, what happens is that inshallah, we are blessed with the amazing Ramadan. We are able to be forgiven. And the deeds that we have could be a mountain pile. And maybe we'll get close to our brothers and sisters in Palestine who have been martyred, who are on another level, when it comes to Iman. Maybe we'll get close to them. And then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us to meet him, we can then show him that we were forgiven in that Ramadan and that we have a lot of deeds to show for. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair to brother Abdurrahman for the wonderful talk, and inshallah it's of benefit, even in some way or form, to all of us. Is there any questions for brother Abdurrahman? Any questions? Sisters, any questions? No? Brothers, any questions? Any, I don't know, any good tips?
There's a brother over there.
I have a question.
No, he said he doesn't want to have a question. Oh, I don't have a question.
So other than Salah and Quran, and asking for forgiveness and starting from a clean slate, what else can we do? Start small. So like, say that we're all in the stage of sowing the seeds, right? So assuming that we're all in the stage of sowing the seeds, how do we start? So beyond what you said, what other things can we do in our daily lives that we can start? Maybe just so that it can help everyone out. Maybe one of us can like, I can do that. Start from
Or like a practical one. Okay. Top 10 things to do. Number one, and this is coming from, how do you say it? The ulama would say the number one thing you have is what? Time, right? And what is the one thing that we have a problem with? Here's one. This would ruin our Ramadan in a minute. And it could destroy our Ramadan sometimes because we're using our phone a bit too much. What you can do, just like as a practical one, is that lower your screen time. You have the app, right? You have the kind of on the database thing, and it has like lower screen time, or you had lower screen time on this week or that week. Try to reach lower screen times. Try to reach that you're not on the phone as much and you're doing things of practical benefit. Like, because sometimes what might happen is that you have like positive, like you're doing very well, but also you're also doing very bad too, and you're doing negative. And so what happens is that you get like a net zero return on interest. And so what you can do is that you lower the negative, right? You lower all your bad habits, whatever habits you have. It could be that what you're looking at on your phone. It could be that the way you talk and the conversations you're having. Every single one of us has a vice. And so what we can do is look at that. And actually what you can do in a practical sense is write down all your bad habits on a book. Because sometimes, especially in psych, what they say is that when you have it in your mind, you can't really tell, like you can't really see it. Whereas if you write it down, you actually see the thing. Because in your mind, it's kind of going constantly. It's removing. You can't really see it. But when you have it on actual pen and paper, you could see it, you could identify it, and then you could work towards it. So get a paper, put a line through it, write down every single bad habit you have, every single good habit, and what you can do is work from there. You already got a foundation. I doubt everyone doesn't have a good habit. I doubt that. You're all probably praying 5 times a day, and maybe you have a certain bad habit. And so what you do is you just lower this down just a bit, and then you increase this one just by a bit.
Jazakallah khair. Any other questions or Request for advice. Sisters, anything from the sisters?
I think there's any questions.
No?
I
Okay,
think they want to
inshallah.
eat. They probably want to eat. Okay.
All right, inshallah. Before we close it, a few important announcements in regards to the youth talks for this coming Ramadan. So this will be our last youth talk before the month of Ramadan. And so for everyone, and especially parents, if your parents are not here, let your parents know, inshallah. In Ramadan, there will be a youth talk every single week. Okay? So there'll be a youth talk every single week. On the Saturday, it will happen after we have the iftar jama'i at the back. So every Saturday in this masjid, we have iftar jama'i, and then that would end maybe around 7:45. We pray Maghrib. So Maghrib's around 7:30. So talk will start around 8 o'clock. So come for the iftar, come for the talk, and come every week so that we benefit more in Ramadan as well, inshallah. And one more thing, Brother Abdurrahman said in regards to sowing the seeds, we have to make sure that the foundation and the soil was fertilized, right? And you mentioned that to fertilize the seed, to fertilize the soil, we start with intention, right? So who amongst us is making intention that we pray Taraweeh in the masjid for every single day? Raise your hands. That's like a third of you. I expect every hand to be up. So I'll repeat the question. Who amongst us, or raise your hand if you plan to pray Taraweeh in the masjid every single night. There we go. All right. So inshallah as well, this masjid will be having Taraweeh every single night. So mashallah. So if you don't have any plans to go to different masajid, you can come here as well, inshallah. I think that's it for the announcements. Just repeating one more time, for Ramadan, we have a weekly youth talk after iftar jama'i. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your cousins, bring Saturday. All right, so every Saturday, we have iftar, and then we have the youth talk, inshallah. Is that clear for everyone? And so spread the word. Let's make this masjid packed, as it's filled with nur and barakah in the blessed month, inshallah. We'll close the talk and we'll get ready for Isha. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So we'll pray Isha and then we'll have the brothers at the back. So the brothers at the back and the sisters in the masjid will bring the food to the sisters. Inshallah, we'll be having a sausage sizzle, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.